it's a wonderful space that we've created for ourselves, even though there are terrible elements of it, to think about how do we create, as the other guests have said, a more just society. Do we really, how do we create, jobs that create dignity and a decent quality of life for people?
Anna Rowlands, you talked about this being an opportunity for a resurrection of humanity.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was speaking this morning on a question of how Easter as a Christian festival might relate to current events and to coronavirus. And one of the things that really struck me is the tradition in early Christianity of thinking about Easter not as a day off or a rest day, but rather as the beginning of a new social task, as the 8th day of creation, the first day of the week. And very much the Easter spirit of the early church community inspired a whole series of social innovations, of forms of hospice care, care for migrants, a whole series of forms of social creativity. And I think my sense is that resurrection is found at the moment both in the tiniest detailed task of keeping coronavirus patients alive. And I've been really moved by doctors' descriptions of their own sense of powerlessness and vulnerability in the context of a disease that they simply don't understand, and how to find ways to save lives. But equally, so that's the fine, detailed, moment by moment, person by person version of what resurrection looks like right now. But then there's this massive social task of what comes next, of reimagining, as Pamela's just been saying, as Raphael's been saying, a more just future. And that requires a total rethinking of our model of living a communal life. And I think that's actually one of the things that inspired early Christian communities, was actually rethinking work, social care, how to be a community together. And ultimately, I think that's actually a narrative task. It's about the kind of fundamental story we're willing to tell ourselves and the stories we're willing to buy about what it means to be human together.